Maya Hayes was 29, and she had learned to brace herself early. At Thanksgiving dinner, Karen Hayes looked across the table and spoke like Maya was a problem to manage. Karen said Maya was wasting her life, and she said it calmly. The room went quiet. Then everyone pretended to focus on food. Michael Hayes kept his eyes down and did not interrupt. Lauren Hayes wore a polite smile and let the moment stretch. Maya had heard this story for years, at birthdays, reunions, and every holiday. Karen always used the same labels: the dropout, the embarrassment, the daughter who could not finish anything. What Karen never explained was why Maya left school at all. When Evelyn Parker had a sudden stroke, Maya came home for one weekend. That weekend turned into months, then years, because someone had to stay. Someone had to cook, clean, handle pills, drive to therapy, and sit through long nights. Karen promised help, then disappeared into errands that never ended. Lauren posted cheerful photos, then visited only when guests were watching. Maya learned how to lift Evelyn safely, and how to hold back tears quietly. After midnight, she studied beside a dim lamp and kept her laptop close. She kept her plans private, because Karen had a talent for crushing chances. That night, as plates clinked and laughter returned, Maya swallowed the heat in her throat. She repeated one rule to survive: do not plead in a room that wants you small. Maya Hayes never forgot the night everything changed, and she could not undo it. It was early spring in the year 2017, and she was studying computer science. She was tired but steady, and her grades were strong enough to matter. After 2 a.m, her phone rang, and the sound felt sharp. It was not Karen Hayes, and it was not Michael Hayes. It was Mrs. Delaney, the neighbor near Evelyn Parker House in Bridgeport. Her voice trembled, and she spoke fast. Evelyn collapsed in the kitchen. The ambulance just left. Maya sat up, and the room spun for a second. Then she moved. She pulled on shoes, grabbed her bag, and tried to breathe slowly. She called Karen first, because that was what she had been trained to do. The phone rang again and again, until Karen answered with irritation. Maya explained the stroke and asked what to do next. Karen sighed, like this was inconvenient, and said she had meetings. She told Maya to call later, then ended the call. Maya stared at the dark screen and felt her chest go cold. She called Michael, and he sounded confused and half asleep. She tried Lauren and got silence. In less than 10 minutes, Maya left campus and headed home. She told herself it would be one weekend, just until Evelyn was stable. She did not know that choice would cost years and reveal what love looked like in her family. Maya Hayes arrived at the hospital before sunrise, and the lobby smelled like bleach. Evelyn Parker lay in a bed, pale and still, with wires on her chest. A nurse explained the stroke and the long road ahead. Maya held Evelyn's hand and promised she would not leave. Karen Hayes arrived hours later, wearing perfume and impatience. She kissed Evelyn's cheek once, then asked the doctor for a quick summary. When the doctor mentioned rehab and daily care, Karen frowned. She turned to Maya and spoke softly, but with steel. You are the one with time. You can handle this. Michael Hayes stood behind her, quiet and tired, like a man waiting for instructions. Lauren Hayes came in with coffee and a worried face that felt practiced. She said she was so sorry, then checked her phone twice. Maya listened and realized nobody was volunteering. Maya called her school and asked about a short leave. She told herself it would be temporary, just until Evelyn could walk. Days turned into weeks, and weeks became a routine of pills, appointments, and laundry. Karen said she would help on weekends, then canceled most of them. Lauren visited when friends were around, then left before dinner. Michael tried once, then stopped, because Karen said he was too clumsy. Maya became the schedule, the driver, the translator, and the quiet nurse at night. She learned to read Evelyn's eyes when words would not come. She learned to smile for family photos, then cry in the car, alone. And when the semester ended without her, Maya understood a hard truth. Her family did not see sacrifice. They saw convenience. Maya Hayes tried to return to campus that fall, but the care never paused. Evelyn Parker needed therapy 3 days a week, and her speech came back slowly. Maya filled notebooks with schedules and taped reminders on cabinets. Karen Hayes told relatives Maya was taking time off to figure herself out. Karen said it with a sigh, like Maya was a bad habit. At birthdays and barbecues, people asked Maya about school, then glanced away. Michael Hayes nodded along, because arguing felt harder than silence. Lauren Hayes acted sympathetic, but she loved the attention. She called Maya brave in public, then mocked her in private. Maya stopped correcting anyone, because the truth never landed. Every time she tried to explain Evelyn care, Karen changed the subject. Karen preferred a cleaner story. Maya quit, Maya failed, Maya stayed behind. Maya watched that story spread, like smoke in a closed room. She still cooked meals, still drove to appointments, still paid bills. She still sat by Evelyn's bed and read aloud at night. Yet, the family used her work as proof she was stuck. One afternoon, Maya overheard Karen on the phone, laughing softly. She said Maya had no ambition and no future worth discussing. Maya did not walk into the room, and she did not shout. She stood in the hallway, steady and quiet, and let the words sharpen inside her. That was when Maya made a private decision. If her family wanted a failure, she would stop offering proof of anything. She would keep her effort invisible and build her life in silence. Maya Hayes applied for a paid internship in Hartford, and the interview went well. The recruiter said Maya sounded capable and asked for references. Maya listed a professor from UConn and a supervisor from a campus lab. She did not list Karen Hayes because Karen never supported anything. 2 days later, the recruiter called again and sounded uncomfortable. She said someone contacted the office and raised concerns about Maya's reliability. She could not share details, but she advised Maya to focus on family matters first. Maya thanked her, then sat in the car and stared at the steering wheel. That night, she checked her email and found a forwarded message from Karen. Karen had written that Maya was unstable and had a pattern of quitting. Karen rewrote it like a warning to protect the company. Maya confronted Karen in the kitchen and asked why she did it. Karen did not deny it. She only shrugged. Karen, said Maya, was not ready, and embarrassment would follow the family name. Michael Hayes stood near the sink and did not look up. Lauren Hayes smirked, then said Karen was only being realistic. Maya felt something break cleanly inside her, like a thread snapping. She realized Karen would sabotage every door if Maya tried to walk through it. So Maya stopped asking permission. She stopped sharing plans. She stopped giving Karen a target. Maya Hayes began studying again after midnight, when Evelyn Parker finally slept. She watched free lectures and rebuilt old assignments from memory. She learned logistics software, route optimization, and warehouse systems. She practiced until her eyes burned, then practiced more. She used small freelance jobs to buy groceries, and she hid the receipts. Karen Hayes loved to control money, and Maya refused to be trapped. Over months, Maya built a simple tool for a local delivery owner, then improved it. The owner introduced her to another client, then another. Maya formed HarborRoute Labs quietly and filed paperwork under a new public name, Maya Brooks Storrs Sill. She did not do it for drama. She did it for safety. She knew Karen would ruin anything she could touch. Maya kept the company small at first, and she kept the branding clean. She spoke to clients from a spare room, with Evelyn television humming down the hall. When Karen asked what Maya was doing on her laptop, Maya said she was handling medical forms. Karen accepted that answer, because it sounded boring. Lauren asked once and Maya smiled and changed the subject. Maya worked in silence and let the family keep their story. She did not need their approval anymore. She needed time, and she needed distance, even if it was only distance in her mind. Maya Hayes kept HarborRoute Labs small, but she kept it steady. She woke before dawn and answered client emails quietly. She helped Evelyn park her dress, then drove her to therapy. When Evelyn rested, Maya returned to her laptop and refined code line by line. A local warehouse manager asked for a dashboard, then asked for route planning. Maya delivered both and charged less than she should, because she wanted trust first. Within months, referrals grew. Maya hired one contractor, then another, and paid them on time. She learned how to read contracts and how to say no. She also learned how to hide success inside an ordinary routine. Karen Hayes noticed nothing, because Karen only tracked what she could brag about. When Maya carried groceries, Karen called it her life choice. When Maya stayed home, Karen called it a lack of ambition. Maya let those comments pass, because silence protected her work. Some nights, Evelyn watched Maya type, and her eyes softened. Evelyn could not speak clearly yet, but she squeezed Maya's hand, and that was enough. Maya did not dream about revenge. She dreamed about freedom. She wanted a future where caring for Evelyn did not mean losing herself. She wanted money for a nurse, and time to sleep, and the right to breathe. By the year 2019, HarborRoute Labs had a steady monthly income. Maya opened a separate account and kept the password private. She also created a clean public profile using the name Maya Brooks and a simple headshot. It felt strange, like wearing a coat inside her own house. But it also felt safe, like finally locking a door that should have been locked years ago. Maya Hayes avoided family gatherings when she could, but holidays were harder. Karen Hayes insisted on hosting, because Karen loved an audience. Karen introduced Lauren Hayes as the success story, and introduced Maya as a cautionary tale. Every time someone asked Maya about work, Karen answered first. Karen said Maya was still figuring things out and still living off kindness. Michael Hayes stayed quiet and kept refilling drinks like noise could cover shame. Lauren played her role well. She praised Maya in public, then criticized her in private. Lauren said Maya was lucky because she did not have pressure. Maya listened and felt the old anger flicker. She did not argue because arguing fed Karen. Instead, Maya watched patterns. She saw how Karen used pity as a weapon and used concern as a mask. She saw how relatives nodded because it was easier than questioning Karen. Maya started keeping notes, not for drama, but for clarity. She saved emails and screenshots and missed call logs. She wrote dates and short summaries and stored them in a private folder. She told herself it was only insurance, and she hoped she would never need it. Evelyn Parker improved slowly, but the cost stayed high. Maya paid for extra sessions and better equipment and a safer bathroom setup. Karen complained about expenses, even when Karen did not pay $1. Karen said Maya should stop wasting money and accept reality. Maya nodded and kept moving, because her reality was not Karen's story. Her reality was Evelyn breathing, and HarborRoute growing, and a quiet plan taking shape. Lauren Hayes announced her engagement on a Sunday afternoon, with photos and loud excitement. Karen Hayes called everyone and treated it like a national holiday. She booked a venue and posted updates and talked about family pride. Lauren's fiancé, Ethan Caldwell, smiled politely and tried to fit in. At the engagement dinner, Karen praised Lauren in long speeches. Karen described Lauren as driven, brilliant, and destined for more. Then Karen turned to Maya Hayes and laughed like it was harmless. Karen told the table that Maya still had no direction and no credentials. A few relatives chuckled and looked away. Maya felt Ethan glance at her, and his expression tightened. Maya did not blame him. He was seeing the show for the first time. After dessert, Karen pulled Maya aside and lowered her voice. Karen said Maya should not embarrass the family during wedding season. Karen said Maya should stay invisible and be grateful for a seat. Maya asked what Karen meant, and Karen answered with a thin smile. Karen said people talk, and Maya did not want to give them material. Maya realized Karen was still afraid, not of Maya's failure, but of Maya's truth. Later that night, Maya drove Evelyn Parker home and helped her into bed. Evelyn touched Maya's wrist and tried to form a word. Maya leaned close and heard a broken whisper. It sounded like proud, or maybe brave. Maya kissed Evelyn's forehead and sat alone in the dark kitchen. She did not feel small anymore. She felt focused, like a storm collecting itself before it finally moves. The week before Thanksgiving, Maya Hayes was finishing a contract review when her phone buzzed with a news alert. HarborRoute Labs had been mentioned in a regional business column, and the headline used the name Maya Brooks. The article described a logistics platform and a deal valued at $360,000. Maya felt her stomach drop, not from fear of work, but from fear of family. She had asked for privacy, but journalists loved a clean story. She called the editor and requested a small change, but the piece was already syndicated. Maya closed her laptop and stared at the wall while Evelyn Parker watched television in the next room. Maya considered skipping the holiday, but Karen Hayes would treat that as proof of guilt. So Maya prepared, like it was a storm. She backed up files, locked accounts, and printed key emails. She also packed Evelyn medication and arranged for a neighbor to check in. On Thursday, Maya drove to Karen's house with a calm face and a careful heart. The dining room was loud and full of relatives. Karen greeted Maya with a quick hug, then launched into jokes about Maya never moving forward. Maya smiled and said nothing. Across the table, an uncle scrolled on his phone, then froze. His screen glowed bright, and his eyebrows rose. He cleared his throat and asked a question that cut through the noise. Who's Maya Brooks, and why does she look like Maya Hayes? Karen turned, and her expression shifted, like a mask slipping. Maya felt the room tilt, and she realized the secret had arrived, whether she wanted it or not. Karen Hayes tried to laugh, but the sound came out thin. She said the article was mistaken, and the photo was probably stock. The uncle turned his phone and passed it down the table. People leaned in, and their faces changed. Michael Hayes stared at the picture and swallowed hard. Lauren Hayes said it was weird, then went quiet. Ethan Caldwell watched Karen and did not blink. Maya Hayes set her fork down and let the silence grow. Karen demanded an explanation, like Maya owed her one. Maya spoke slowly and kept her voice even. She said, Maya Brooks was her public name, and HarborRoute Labs was her company. Karen snapped that Maya was a dropout and could not run anything serious. Maya looked around the table and asked a simple question. If I am a dropout, why did you email a recruiter to block my internship? Karen stiffened, and Michael shifted in his chair. Karen said Maya was lying, and that Maya always invented drama. Maya reached into her bag and placed printed emails on the table. The pages showed Karen name, her words, and a date. A relative read out loud, then stopped, shocked. Karen lunged for the papers, but an aunt pulled them back. The room filled with murmurs, and Karen's face flushed. Maya did not raise her voice. She only held the truth in plain sight. She said she left school to care for Evelyn Parker, and she built her work at night. She said Karen mocked her sacrifice and tried to ruin her future. She said she was done letting that continue. After dinner, people moved into the living room, but the energy stayed sharp. Karen Hayes paced near the fireplace and called Maya ungrateful. She said Maya owed the family loyalty and owed Karen respect. Maya Hayes stood by the doorway and breathed slowly. Michael Hayes asked Maya why she never told him, and his voice cracked. Maya answered that she tried, but nobody listened. Lauren Hayes accused Maya of humiliating the family, and Ethan Caldwell looked at Lauren like he was seeing her clearly for the first time. Maya said she did not humiliate anyone. She only stopped hiding. Karen stepped closer and lowered her voice into a threat. She said Maya would regret this because family was all Maya had. Maya nodded once, then spoke with calm weight. She said, family did not mean control, and love did not mean sabotage. She said she would continue caring for Evelyn Parker, but she would do it with hired help, paid by her own money. She said Karen would not touch her accounts, her work, or her choices again. She said, if Karen spread lies, Maya would correct them publicly with receipts. Karen opened her mouth, then closed it, because the room was listening now. Maya picked up her coat and prepared to leave. Before she walked out, she looked at everyone and made one final statement. She said she was not the family failure. She was the person who kept Evelyn alive. Then she walked into the cold night and felt lighter than she had in years. The next morning, Maya Hayes woke to a stream of missed calls. Karen Hayes left voicemails that swung between rage and sweetness. Karen, said Maya, ruined the holiday. Then Karen said Maya should come back and talk like adults. Maya listened once, then deleted the rest. Michael Hayes sent a short text and asked if he could visit. Maya agreed, because his silence had weight, but it was not the same as cruelty. When Michael arrived, he looked older than Maya remembered. He sat at the kitchen table and stared at his hands. He said he did not know about the recruiter email, and he sounded ashamed. Maya told him the truth and did not soften it. She said Karen watched her struggle and treated it like entertainment. She said she stopped sharing because Karen used every detail as a weapon. Michael nodded slowly, and tears gathered in his eyes. He said he should have protected her, and he did not. Maya accepted the apology, but she did not offer comfort. She said she would not rebuild trust with words alone. She said she needed consistent behavior and clear respect. Michael asked about Evelyn Parker, and Maya walked him to the bedroom. Evelyn reached for Michael's hand, and her fingers trembled. Michael whispered, sorry to Evelyn, and to Maya, and he stayed for an hour. When he left, he promised to be present. Maya did not know if he could change, but she knew she would not chase him anymore. By Sunday, relatives were talking, and Karen Hayes could not control the story. An aunt called Maya Hayes and asked what really happened. Maya explained calmly and shared only what was necessary. She did not insult Karen, and she did not ask for sympathy. She simply described Evelyn Parker's stroke, the years of care, and the sabotage email. The aunt went quiet, then said she was sorry. A cousin messaged Maya and admitted he always wondered why Maya looked exhausted. Another relative apologized for laughing at Karen's joke. Each message felt small, but together they changed the air. Karen tried to call relatives first, and paint Maya as unstable. This time people asked questions, and Karen hated that. Lauren Hayes posted a vague statement online about betrayal and private matters. Ethan Caldwell did not comment, and that silence spoke loudly. Maya focused on Evelyn's schedule and on HarborRoute Labs. She hired a part-time nurse and felt her shoulders drop for the first time in years. She slept a full night, then woke up shocked by her own rest. Maya realized she had been living in survival mode, and she was finally stepping out of it. The gossip would pass, but the truth had already landed. A week later, Maya Hayes met Ethan Caldwell by accident, outside a grocery store. He looked uneasy, then asked if Maya had a minute. Maya agreed, and they stood near the carts, while cold wind pushed around their feet. Ethan said he did not know how deep the family cruelty went. He said he believed Karen's stories at first, because Karen sounded confident. He apologized for staying quiet at the engagement dinner. Maya told him she understood, because nobody wanted to fight in someone else's home. Ethan asked about HarborRoute Labs, and Maya explained briefly, without bragging. Ethan listened, then shook his head, impressed and frustrated. He said Lauren never mentioned any of it, and he wondered what else she hid. Maya told him he should ask Lauren directly, and watch how she answers. Ethan thanked Maya, then hesitated. He said he still cared about Lauren, but he did not want a future built on lies. Maya nodded and said, "Truth is not cruel, it is clean." Ethan looked at her like he was holding a new thought. Then he walked away, and Maya felt the ripple of change moving through a story that had been stuck for years. Lauren Hayes called Maya Hayes late at night, and her voice sounded sharp. Lauren said Maya was poisoning the family and turning everyone against them. Maya stayed calm and asked one question: which part is false? Lauren paused, then blamed Maya for bringing evidence to the table. Lauren said Maya should have handled it privately because public shame was dangerous. Maya answered that years of private pain did not protect anyone. It only protected Karen Hayes. Lauren snapped that Maya was jealous and always wanted attention. "Oh, why?" Maya almost laughed because the accusation was so empty. Maya reminded Lauren that she spent years invisible, caring for Evelyn Parker while Lauren enjoyed praise. Lauren said Maya should stop acting like a hero because Evelyn was not even Maya's responsibility. Maya felt heat rise, but she did not raise her voice. She said Evelyn was family and compassion was a choice. Lauren ended the call, and Maya sat in silence. She realized Lauren was not angry about truth. Lauren was afraid of losing status. In that moment, Maya understood something clear. Lauren did not want to be loved. She wanted to be admired. Maya wrote that down in her mind, then returned to Evelyn's room and checked her breathing. Karen Hayes showed up unannounced on a Saturday morning. Saturday morning. She walked into Maya Hayes' driveway and knocked like she owned the door. Maya opened it and stood in the frame, blocking the hallway. Karen said she came to see Evelyn Parker, but her eyes scanned the house. Karen noticed new medical equipment and a paid nurse in the kitchen. Karen asked who was paying for all of it, and her tone turned suspicious. Maya said she was paying, and she did not explain more. Karen demanded to know where Maya got the money, then accused Maya of doing something illegal. Maya told Karen to stop and reminded her that the company was real and the taxes were filed. Karen scoffed, then tried a softer voice. She said she was worried because Maya was impulsive and the family could help manage finances. Maya heard the trap and did not step into it. She said no and repeated it twice. Karen tried guilt, then tried anger. She said Maya was breaking the family and Evelyn would suffer. Maya looked at Karen and said Evelyn suffered when Karen abandoned her. Karen flinched, then looked away. The nurse returned from the hallway and asked if everything was fine. Maya said yes and asked the nurse to stay close. Karen realized she had an audience that would not bend, and she left in a storm of perfume and resentment. Evelyn Parker made a small breakthrough in December. She held a spoon without dropping it, and she smiled like she won a prize. Maya Hayes clapped softly, and tears filled her eyes. The nurse wrote notes and encouraged Evelyn to try again. Evelyn lifted the spoon twice more, then rested. Later that week, Evelyn formed a clear word, and it was Maya. Maya sat beside her and held her hand and felt years of weight shift. She thought about the nights she stayed awake and the holidays she endured. She thought about Karen Hayes calling her a failure, while Maya kept the house running. Evelyn squeezed Maya's fingers and whispered again, slow but sure, Maya. Tan Daya. Maya answered, I am here, and she meant it. That evening, Maya checked HarborRoute Labs reports and saw the numbers rising. She did not feel greedy. She felt relieved. More income meant more care, more rest, and more dignity. Maya promised herself that she would not let her family steal this peace. She would keep building and keep loving, but she would do it with boundaries that could not be negotiated. In January, HarborRoute Labs received an email that made Maya Hayes reread twice. A larger firm wanted to discuss a partnership and a possible buyout. The message was polite, but the numbers hinted at a new level. Maya felt excited, then cautious, because success always attracted noise. She scheduled a call under the name Maya Brooks and listened more than she spoke. The firm asked about growth, retention, and patents. Maya answered carefully and backed every claim with data. After the call, she paced the kitchen, then checked on Evelyn Parker. Evelyn was practicing speech, slow and stubborn, like a person rebuilding a bridge. Maya realized the buyout could fund full-time care and a safer home. It could also pull her into public attention, and that meant Karen Hayes would notice. Maya hired an attorney and created layers of protection. She tightened contracts, reviewed taxes, and secured accounts. She did not do it to hide wrongdoing. She did it to block interference. That night, Karen called and left a message, sweet as syrup. Karen said she missed Maya and wanted to start fresh. Maya did not call back. She knew the timing was not a coincidence. Karen felt the ground shifting, and Karen wanted a handle. Maya breathed slowly and chose silence again, because silence had built everything she needed. Lauren Hayes held a bridal shower in February, and Karen Hayes treated it like a stage. The house filled with pastel gifts and forced laughter, and relatives who watched every reaction. Karen sat at the center, telling stories about Lauren's brilliance. Then Karen turned toward Maya Hayes and made a soft joke about Maya still playing nurse. A few people smiled, then stopped, because the room had changed since Thanksgiving. Maya held a plate and kept her posture calm. Ethan Caldwell arrived late, and his eyes scanned the room with caution. He greeted Maya politely, then looked away from Karen fast. Karen noticed, and her smile tightened. She tried again, saying Maya should be grateful, because not everyone gets to avoid real work. An aunt cleared her throat and asked Karen why she sent that email to the recruiter. Karen laughed too loudly, then said Maya exaggerated everything. Maya did not argue. She only said the email existed, and everyone had seen it. The silence landed hard. Lauren looked embarrassed, then angry. But her anger had no clean target. Ethan watched Lauren's face, and his expression cooled. Karen tried to rescue the moment with a toast, but the room did not follow her lead. Maya left early, and felt relief in the cold air. She realized Karen jokes were losing power because truth had given people new ears. A month later, the buyout talks advanced quickly. HarborRoute Labs was no longer a small secret. It was a real asset. The attorney warned Maya Hayes that public filings could expose her identity. Maya prepared for it anyway, because she was done living in fear. One morning, another article appeared, and it was bigger than the first. It described HarborRoute Labs as a fast-growing logistics platform, and it mentioned a deal valued at $47 million. Maya read the number and felt her hands go numb. She thought about nights beside Evelyn Parker's bed and mornings filled with pills. She thought about Karen Hayes calling her a failure, while Maya built a company in silence. Within hours, her phone exploded. Relatives texted congratulations, and strangers asked for interviews. Karen called 10 times and left messages that sounded almost trembling. Karen said Maya should come home because family should celebrate together. Maya listened, then turned the phone face down. She checked on Evelyn, and Evelyn smiled as if she understood the shift. Maya whispered that everything would be okay, and she meant it. She had money now, and options now, and a voice that could not be erased. Karen Hayes arrived at Maya Hayes' house the next day, carrying a pie and a smile. She spoke softly and said she was proud, like nothing bad had ever happened. Maya stood in the doorway and did not invite her in. Karen said the family should unite now, because success belonged to everyone. Maya asked one question. Where was this pride when Evelyn Parker could not walk? Karen blinked, then said she did what she could. Maya reminded her that she did not, and the nurse had receipts for missed visits. Karen shifted tactics and blamed stress, and said Maya was too sensitive. Maya said she was not sensitive, she was informed. Karen leaned closer and tried to whisper about managing money. Karen said people would target Maya, and Karen could protect her. Maya answered that Karen was the first person who targeted her. Karen's face tightened, and the sweetness dropped. Karen said Maya would regret turning her back on family. Maya replied that family was not a pass for sabotage. Maya closed the door calmly and listened to Karen's footsteps fade. Her hands shook after, but her choice felt clean. She checked on Evelyn, and Evelyn touched her cheek, slow and warm. Maya breathed and let the moment settle. Lauren Hayes called Maya Hayes and demanded a meeting. She said Maya was destroying her wedding plans and making the family look broken. Maya agreed to meet at a quiet cafe and kept her tone neutral. Lauren arrived with tight eyes and spoke fast. She said Karen deserved credit because Karen raised them and Maya should share the spotlight. Maya asked why Lauren never defended her when Karen mocked her for years. Lauren said it was complicated, and then she said Maya was too dramatic. Maya held her cup and waited for the truth to rise. Lauren admitted she liked being the good daughter, and she did not want to lose that. Maya said honesty costs something, and silence costs more. When Lauren left the cafe, Ethan Caldwell was waiting outside. He asked Maya if Lauren always talked like that. Maya did not answer directly. She only said people reveal themselves under pressure. Ethan looked tired and said he did not recognize the family he was marrying into. Maya told him to trust what he sees, not what he hopes. Ethan nodded once and walked away, slow and heavy, like a man carrying a decision. Maya Hayes met with the buyer team again, and this time the offer was formal. The attorney explained terms, and the numbers felt unreal. Maya signed only after she secured protections for Evelyn Parker care and for her own privacy. She arranged for a long-term nurse and upgraded the home for safety. She also set aside money for therapy and for any emergency that could come. When the deal closed, Maya did not throw a party. She cooked Evelyn favorite soup and sat beside her at the table. Evelyn lifted her spoon carefully and smiled at Maya like she understood the victory. Maya thought about calling Michael Hayes, and she did call him. Michael cried on the phone and said he was proud and sorry. Maya accepted the words, but she did not forget the years. She offered a relationship with boundaries, and he agreed. Karen Hayes sent another message, asking for help with debt. Maya did not respond. She felt no joy in refusing, only peace. She had spent too long being punished for kindness. Now, she chose kindness with control, and love with limits, and a future that belonged to her. A week after the deal closed, Karen Hayes sent a long email, filled with guilt and praise. Karen said she always believed in Maya Hayes, and she only pushed her to be strong. Then Karen attached bills and asked Maya to cover them because family helps family. Maya read the email slowly and noticed the pattern. Karen still spoke like a manager, not a mother. Maya replied with one short paragraph. She said she would pay for Evelyn Parker care and nothing else. She said Karen could speak to a financial counselor and stop blaming her children. Karen answered fast with anger and said Maya was selfish. Maya did not argue. She saved the message and closed her laptop. Michael Hayes called later and asked Maya to reconsider because Karen was upset. Maya told Michael that Karen was always upset when she could not control someone. Michael went quiet, then said he understood. Maya ended the call and felt a small shift inside her. She was no longer negotiating with the past. She was building rules for the future, and she was holding them steady, even when guilt tried to shake her hands. Lauren Hayes' wedding plans moved forward, but the shine was fading. Relatives whispered about Thanksgiving and about the emails. Lauren tried to act unbothered, but her smile looked strained. Ethan Caldwell asked more questions, and he asked them in front of people. Lauren snapped at him once, and Karen Hayes jumped in to defend her. Karen said Ethan should focus on love, not drama. Ethan replied that love without honesty is only performance. The room went quiet, and Lauren's eyes flashed with panic. Maya Hayes did not attend every event, but she showed up when it mattered for family peace. She sat near the back and spoke to no one who wanted a fight. Karen tried to corner her and asked for a private talk. Maya declined and said she would talk with a mediator present. Karen rolled her eyes, but she backed off. During one rehearsal dinner, Ethan stepped outside and Maya followed a minute later. He thanked Maya for being calm and said he was trying to decide what kind of life he wanted. Maya told him to choose a life where truth is welcome. Ethan nodded and his shoulders sagged, like he was finally tired of pretending. On a cold night in March, the hospital called Maya Hayes. Again, Evelyn Parker had a complication, and the nurse asked Maya to come. Maya drove fast and kept her breathing steady. In the room, Evelyn looked small, but her eyes were alert. The doctor explained the issue and said it was manageable, but it required careful monitoring. Maya held Evelyn's hand and told her she was safe. Evelyn tried to speak, and the words came slowly. She said, "Maya good, Maya strong." Maya pressed her forehead to Evelyn's hand and cried once, quiet and quick. She remembered how Karen Hayes called her weak and how Lauren Hayes called her dramatic. None of that mattered here. What mattered was a woman fighting to live, and a granddaughter who never left. When the crisis passed, Maya sat in the hallway and called Michael Hayes. She told him where she was, and he arrived an hour later, pale and shaken. He sat beside Maya and whispered that he was sorry again. Maya nodded and said sorry is only the beginning. Then she stood, wiped her face, and returned to Evelyn's room. Because love is not a speech, it is a choice made every day. 2 days after the hospital scare, Ethan Caldwell asked Maya Hayes to meet again. He chose a quiet park and kept his hands in his pockets. He said he visited Karen Hayes' house and heard Karen blaming Maya for everything. He said, Lauren Hayes agreed, and repeated the same story, like it was rehearsed. Ethan admitted he felt sick hearing it, because he had watched Maya carry Evelyn Parker for years. Maya, said she, did not want Ethan to fight her battles. Ethan answered that he was not fighting for Maya. He was fighting for his own future. He said he wanted a marriage built on truth, not on image. Maya told him to speak to Lauren directly and listen to her response. Ethan nodded, then said he already did. He said Lauren called Maya manipulative and Karen called Maya dangerous. Ethan looked down, and his voice turned low. He said he realized the family needed a villain, and Maya had always been the easiest target. Maya felt a strange sympathy, because Ethan was grieving an illusion. She told him that love is not proven by loyalty to lies. Ethan asked what Maya would do in his place. Maya answered calmly, she would choose the life that does not require silence. Ethan thanked her, then walked away slowly. Maya watched him leave, and she did not feel victory. She felt the heavy clarity of consequences, finally arriving where they belong. Karen Hayes tried to regain control by calling a family meeting on a Sunday. She invited relatives, brought food, and acted wounded. She said Maya Hayes was tearing the family apart, and she begged everyone to stand together. But the room did not move the way it used to. An aunt asked why Karen never helped with Evelyn Parker care. A cousin asked why Karen called Maya a dropout when Maya was building HarborRoute Labs at night. Karen tried to cry, then tried to laugh, but neither worked. Michael Hayes finally spoke, and his voice shook. He said Karen crossed lines, and he let it happen. Karen turned on him and called him weak. Michael did not flinch. He only said he was done being quiet. Lauren Hayes tried to defend Karen, but her words sounded thin. People looked at Lauren, and then looked away. Karen felt it, and her face hardened. She accused everyone of betrayal, then stormed into the kitchen. Maya was not there, and Karen hated that most. Without Maya in the room, Karen had no target to hit. Later, Michael called Maya and told her what happened. Maya listened, then said one sentence. She said she hoped they finally learned the difference between family and control. Then she ended the call and returned to Evelyn's bedside, because her real life did not need an audience. Spring came slowly, and Maya Hayes built a calmer routine. The nurse handled mornings, and Maya handled evenings. Evelyn Parker practiced walking with a cane and celebrated every small step. Some days, Evelyn spoke short sentences, and Maya smiled like the sun returned. HarborRoute Labs transitioned under the new ownership, and Maya stayed on as an advisor. She took fewer calls and slept more hours than she thought possible. Michael Hayes visited twice a month, and he helped without being asked. Maya watched his effort and allowed cautious hope. Lauren Hayes sent one message that sounded polite, but not honest. Maya replied with a simple boundary. She would talk only with respect and only without Karen Hayes present. Lauren did not answer. Karen sent another email, this time softer, asking for a second chance. Maya did not reply, because second chances require first accountability. One evening, Maya sat with Evelyn on the porch, and the air smelled like cut grass. Evelyn touched Maya's hand and said thank you, clear enough to understand. Maya swallowed hard and said, "You are welcome, and I love you." Evelyn smiled, and Maya felt the old shame finally dissolve. She was not a failure, and she never was. She was a builder, a caregiver, and a woman who chose herself without abandoning the person she loved most. In early summer, Karen Hayes sent a handwritten letter to Maya Hayes, and it arrived in a plain envelope. Karen wrote that she missed her daughter, and she wanted peace. She wrote that mothers make mistakes, and children should forgive. Maya read every line and noticed what was missing. Karen did not name the sabotage email, and Karen did not name the years of mocking. Karen only described her own pain and asked Maya to be kind. Maya folded the letter and set it beside the sink. The nurse was helping Evelyn Parker practice speech, and Evelyn paused to watch Maya face. Maya smiled gently and told Evelyn everything was fine. Later, Maya called her attorney and asked one question. If Karen keeps pushing, what is the safest response? The attorney suggested a written boundary, short and clear. Maya wrote back with calm precision. She said she would consider contact after Karen acknowledged specific harm. She said apologies without accountability are only another form of control. She said her priority was Evelyn care and her own stability. She asked Karen to stop arriving unannounced and stop contacting her work partners. Maya mailed the letter, then returned to the porch and listened to cicadas. She did not feel cruel. She felt disciplined. She had spent years absorbing chaos, and now she practiced peace, like a skill she deserved to master. Lauren Hayes reached out a week later, and her message sounded careful. She asked Maya Hayes to meet, and she said it would be just the two of them. Maya agreed to a public place and chose a quiet diner at midday. Lauren arrived wearing a bright smile, but her eyes were tense. She started with small talk, then moved to blame. She said Karen Hayes was struggling, and the family needed unity. Maya asked Lauren a direct question. Do you admit Karen sabotaged my internship? Lauren hesitated, then said it was complicated. Ani. Maya nodded once because that was an answer. Lauren tried another angle and said Maya should stop holding grudges. Maya told her it was not a grudge. It was a boundary. Lauren, said Maya, was acting superior now because she had money. Maya replied calmly, I acted the same when I had nothing. I simply stopped begging for respect. Lauren looked away, then admitted she liked being the perfect daughter. She admitted she feared losing Karen approval. Maya listened and felt sadness more than anger. She told Lauren that fear is real, but it does not excuse cruelty. She offered one path forward. Lauren could build a relationship with Maya without Karen in the middle. Lauren could speak truth, even when it costs comfort. Lauren left the diner quiet, and Maya paid the bill and walked out into sunlight, steady and clear. In late summer, Evelyn Parker took a slow walk across the living room without holding the wall. The nurse stood nearby, ready to catch her, but Evelyn kept moving. Maya Hayes watched with her hand over her mouth, and her eyes filled. Evelyn reached the chair, then turned and lifted her chin like a winner. Maya clapped softly and said, "You did it," and Evelyn smiled wide. Later, Evelyn asked for the photo album, and she pointed to an old picture of Maya as a child. Evelyn touched the page and spoke with effort. "Maya, good heart," she said, then paused to breathe. "Maya, strong." Maya held Evelyn's hand and felt the words settle deep. She thought about the years Karen Hayes called her lazy, and the years Lauren Hayes watched and stayed silent. She thought about how easy it is to shame a caregiver when you never lift the weight yourself. That evening, Michael Hayes visited, and he helped cook dinner without being asked. He apologized again, but this time he also acted, and that mattered more. Maya served soup and listened to Evelyn laugh at a small joke. The house felt peaceful, but not fragile. It felt earned. Maya realized the story did not end with revenge. It ended with recovery. Evelyn was still here, and Maya was still herself, and no one could rewrite that truth, no matter how loud they once were. In early fall, Maya Hayes hosted a small dinner at her own home, and she kept it simple. Michael Hayes came and helped set plates without being asked. The nurse checked on Evelyn Parker, then gave them privacy. Evelyn sat at the table, steady and present, and her smile looked stronger now. Maya served food and watched the room with quiet awareness. No one raised their voice, and no one performed. Michael talked about work, then stopped, and apologized again in a softer way. He said he let Karen Hayes run the family like a courtroom. He said he became a witness, not a father, and he regretted it. Maya listened and did not rush to comfort him. She said, "Trust grows from patterns, not speeches." Michael nodded and accepted that. After dinner, Evelyn asked for music, and Maya played an old song. Evelyn moved her hands slightly, like she was dancing in a chair. Maya felt warmth in her chest, and she realized peace can be ordinary. It can be a table, a lamp, and a night without insults. When Michael left, he hugged Maya carefully, like he knew boundaries are real. Maya closed the door and did not feel guilty. She felt proud because her home was no longer a stage. It was a shelter, built by patience and protected by clear rules. A week later, Karen Hayes appeared again, this time with a new strategy. She called first and asked if she could visit Evelyn Parker. Maya Hayes said yes, but only with the nurse present and only for 1 hour. Karen arrived wearing a warm smile and carrying flowers. She spoke gently to Evelyn and asked how she felt. Evelyn looked at Karen and did not offer much, only a small nod. Karen then turned to Maya and tried to speak like the past was gone. Karen said she admired Maya's strength and she wanted to rebuild. Maya asked Karen to name one specific thing she did wrong. Karen hesitated, then said she was only trying to motivate Maya. Maya replied that sabotage is not motivation, and cruelty is not love. Karen's face tightened, and her sweetness cracked. Karen said Maya was punishing her, and that a good daughter would let it go. Maya answered that a good mother would own her damage first. The nurse stepped closer, calm and professional, and Karen noticed she could not control the room. Karen left early, and her footsteps sounded sharp. Maya did not chase her. She checked on Evelyn, and Evelyn squeezed her hand, as if to say enough. Maya breathed and felt the boundary hold like a solid wall. Winter returned, and Maya Hayes settled into a life that felt real. Evelyn Parker continued therapy, and she spoke more clearly each month. The nurse became part of the routine, and Maya finally slept without waking to panic. HarborRoute Labs was stable under new ownership, and Maya worked part-time, advising and reviewing plans. She started taking classes again, not because she needed proof, but because she wanted closure. Michael Hayes remained present, and his actions stayed consistent. Lauren Hayes kept her distance, and Maya accepted that. Karen Hayes sent occasional messages, but Maya did not answer until there was accountability, and there was none. One evening, Maya and Evelyn sat by the window, watching snow fall slowly. Evelyn said a full sentence, and it came out clear enough to understand. "You saved me," she said, then paused to breathe. Maya shook her head gently and replied that they saved each other. Maya thought about the years of shame and the years of quiet work. She thought about how easy it is for people to mock what they do not carry. Then she looked at her home and at Evelyn breathing calmly, and she felt the ending settle. The message was simple, and it was strong. Love is not approval, and family is not ownership. Maya did not need revenge to win. She only needed truth, boundaries, and the courage to build a life that nobody could rewrite.